He was a hidden mathematical genius, yet every day he worked in an office barely 8 square meters wide. At first glance, it looked like he was patiently listening to clients explain their problems. In reality, his eyes were constantly scanning surveillance feeds, making sure the small RV he had just bought hadn't been stolen. Truth was, these minor cases meant almost nothing to him financially. Solving them was pocket change. Still, he helped the elderly client fix every issue without complaint. Grateful, the old man invited him to visit his farm as a gesture of thanks, but what the farmer never expected was that the man arrived carrying a top-tier M2 sniper rifle. His goal? To hit a watermelon from 500 meters away. For someone who had handled guns his entire life, that distance was unthinkable. Yet the man showed no fear at all. He calmly calculated the range, adjusted the scope to 8 power, and gently blew on his fingers, an odd ritual he had followed for years. Moments later, the shot landed perfectly. The old man was left completely stunned. That night, however, the man locked himself in his room. He cranked up deafening metal music, turned on blinding lights, and began rolling a heavy wooden pin across his calves. He welcomed the extreme pain, using it as a weapon in his lifelong battle against his illness. As the noise filled the room, memories from his childhood resurfaced. Born with severe autism, he and his younger brother were sent to a special school. His mother, overwhelmed, wanted to abandon him there entirely. But his father, a soldier, refused. He believed there had to be a way to help his son heal. As a child, the man often lost control over the smallest things. Once, simply losing a puzzle piece sent him into a screaming breakdown, triggering anxiety in a nearby autistic girl. Thankfully, she helped him find the missing piece, slowly calming him down. Only after placing the final piece hidden on the back did everything feel whole again. Despite his brilliance, his mother never accepted him. Eventually, she walked away, abandoning the father and 2 sons. Her departure shattered him completely. He spiraled, acting out with no logic or restraint. His father rushed in, holding him tightly while softly repeating a rhyme from the Song of Solomon, asking again and again, "Who are you?" Slowly, the boy calmed down. Outside of his home and office, the man had a secret base and abandoned warehouse hidden from the world. Inside were not only his RV, but a private weapons cache and all the money he had earned over the years. Hanging from the ceiling was a priceless original artwork by Jackson, worth hundreds of millions. His wealth didn't come from his modest consulting job. That was just a cover. In truth, he laundered money for criminal organizations, creating flawless fake accounts. One day, his handler called him with a new assignment: audit the books of a legitimate tech company specializing in artificial intelligence. A massive sum of money had vanished, and they wanted him to find out where it went. Sitting across from him was the company's CEO's sister, who eyed him with deep suspicion. "How long have you been reviewing corporate accounts, sir?" 15 years. "I need the books for the past 15 years. The demand nearly made the finance team choke. They thought he was a fraud. But the sister was intrigued by this man who looked like a real-life Batman and immediately approved his request. Meanwhile, the head of the financial crimes unit discovered something disturbing. Every major criminal operation had been quietly assisted by the same mysterious accountant, one who flawlessly moved illegal funds. Every crime boss was arrested. Except him. That made the man a top priority. The director assigned his best agent, Medina, to track this ghost down. The next day, the man arrived at the company's conference room to find stacks of documents and a young woman asleep among them. She was a new junior accountant who had organized 15 years of records overnight and was the first to notice the massive financial gap. She volunteered to help him, but he refused. His autism made him prefer working alone. Once focused, he moved fast. Colored pens were laid out with perfect symmetry. He blew on his hands twice and began reviewing. Using his near-photographic memory, he rewrote entire ledgers across whiteboards and glass walls. In a single day, he uncovered most of the inconsistencies. The supervisor was amazed. He concluded that $500 million had been siphoned out, but said the analysis wasn't finished. He wanted perfection. The next day, he returned only to find cleaners clearing the room. The finance director had been murdered overnight. The CEO demanded the investigation stop immediately. Though furious and desperate to finish, the man was forced to leave. That night, his emotions spiraled. The pain ritual intensified. He crushed his legs harder and harder until the wooden pin snapped. Only then did the chaos inside him quiet down. The next day, he returned to the farm only to find the old couple taken hostage by two assassins. One tried to lure him inside. Before the gunman could fire, a single shot took his head clean off. The other grabbed the old man and fled. The man disabled the vehicle with one shot, chased it down, smashed through the truck's rear window, and dragged the killer out. With only a belt and 3 strikes, the assassin was defeated. A badge fell out. It belonged to the young accountant. Realizing she was next, the man erased his identity and moved to save her, and just in time. That was something no ordinary man could ever stand against. With effortless precision, he knocked the enemy to the ground and casually sent him a golden peanut straight to the head. Only then did the truth become clear. He and the girl had crossed the interests of a powerful crime boss. That was why they were being hunted so mercilessly. He quickly brought the girl to his secret base. While he stepped away to change clothes, she stumbled upon something unbelievable. Hanging on the wall was a world-famous painting worth over $100 million. Inside the drawers were massive gold bars. In another room, rows of weapons filled the space from floor to ceiling. The girl froze. She could no longer comprehend who this man really was, the one who had just saved her life. He offered no explanation. He simply grabbed some cash and weapons, then took her to a 5-star hotel. Having spent her entire life struggling just to survive, the girl had never imagined staying somewhere so luxurious, let alone a presidential suite. Sitting together on the couch, they talked. The man, who normally kept everyone at a distance, spoke freely about his childhood, as if the weight inside him had finally found a release. But just as emotions began to blur the line between them, reality pulled him back. Something about the tech company felt wrong. He suspected there was an insider, someone who had siphoned off $500 million. Then reinvested it under another company's name. Not only would it perfectly avoid taxes, but it would also inflate the stock price when the company went public. The question was simple and terrifying. If they knew this would be discovered, why hire him to investigate it all? To find answers, he went to confront the female executive. But when he arrived at her home, he noticed a suspicious stranger. He followed quietly, only to be spotted. The man pulled out a silenced pistol and fired. When he looked up again, the shooter was gone. He rushed inside the house. Too late. The executive was already dead. That was the moment he realized the true mastermind behind everything was the boss himself. Meanwhile, Medina, the investigator tracking the mysterious accountant, finally uncovered a crucial lead. That small, unremarkable accounting firm was a front. By laundering money through surrounding businesses, it generated tens of millions every year. When she reported this to her superior, Director King, he revealed something shocking. All of that money had been donated to schools for special needs children. Determined to uncover the truth, Medina decided to meet the man herself, but after she left, King sat in silence, clearly hiding something more. When the investigation team searched the man's home, they were stunned. Surveillance cameras were everywhere, even hidden inside bird nests. Behind the living room curtain sat a mounted Gatling gun, capable of cutting down anyone equally. What kind of person lives like this? After everyone left, only King and Medina remained. King leaned back on the couch and began telling a story from 10 years ago, a story about the man. After attending his mother's funeral with his father, suspicion followed them everywhere. Even relatives rejected them. Unable to communicate well, the man got into a confrontation that escalated until police drew their guns. His father stepped in front of him and took the bullet, dying right before his eyes. The man was sent to prison. There, he met an elderly accountant who laundered money for gangs. The two bonded. The old man taught him everything and handed over his criminal network. But after being released, the old accountant was brutally murdered during a deal. Enraged, the man wiped out the entire gang by himself, and King was the agent secretly in charge of that case. Trying to make a name for himself, King once had a gun pressed to his head. "What's your name?" "Ray." "Who do you work for?" "Raven King." "I'm Treasury." The man spared his life. Since that day, King received anonymous calls for 10 straight years, exposing criminal organizations one by one. He always knew who it was, the man's handler. Now, with King nearing retirement, he wanted Medina to take over and continue working with him. Suddenly, the phone rang. Medina answered. A woman's voice spoke calmly. From this moment on, she was officially part of their alliance. Elsewhere, the boss hired a team of mercenaries and surrounded his mansion. He knew the man was coming. The first gunshot confirmed it. A guard dropped instantly. One by one, the mercenaries fell. Smoke grenades were thrown. Automatic gunfire erupted. The man switched weapons with cold precision, advancing, reloading, eliminating threats effortlessly. Inside the mansion, bodies piled up. Then something unexpected happened. As the man wrapped his wounded leg and quietly recited the Solomon rhyme, another voice joined in, saying the same words. The mysterious fighter froze in terror. It was his brother. Chaos erupted. The brother shot one of his own men to stop the fighting. Shock filled the room as the truth surfaced. Years of resentment exploded. Accusations flew. Pain poured out. Finally, both men collapsed in silence. When the boss appeared, screaming in rage, the man ended it with a single shot. Everything was over. Later, they returned to the special needs school. A new boy entered a hidden room. On the wall hung an old puzzle, one the man had once completed as a child. On the bed sat a silent girl. She couldn't speak, but she was a genius hacker, and beside her desk hung an old childhood photograph. Some legacies never disappear. The movie ends here. Thanks for your watching. Leave your comments below and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave a like to help the channel out.